It can be considered a sport, but you can't really host a competition around it. It's more of like obstacle courses and like times. In that case, yes. But from my perspective, it's more of just like a way of life, or just a practice that you do.
The practice that David is referring to is parkour. Parkour is described as getting from point A to point B as efficiently as possible, no matter what obstacle is in the way. Parkour may seem new to most, but David explains it has been around much longer.
I mean, for our practices, it's been around for maybe, I want to say 50 years, but for all times, it's been about since humans existed. I've done a whole bunch of sports, from like basketball, swimming, football, lacrosse, but none of those actually did anything for me. I felt like I was always being constrained by like, oh, you have these rules to follow, you have this stuff to do, you have these pads to wear. I didn't feel like I could be myself. I didn't feel like I could like be as like well-rounded as I wanted to be.
David also says he was doing parkour for a long time without even knowing it.
I didn't know this at the time, but when I started parkour, I realized that I was actually in the parkour mindset. And like me climbing trees as a kid was like, was actually me practicing parkour. Me like doing anything, climbing activities or like jumping over stuff or doing silly stuff that gets me from point A to point B was me doing parkour. So I got my coach's certification, which you had to do a whole bunch of stuff, which I was amazed my body was able to let me do that.
Since he had his coaching certification, David was able to be head of the parkour club at Tech. We tested his coaching abilities on the DT's very own Paige Skinner. We won't hold that example against David. As someone who does parkour, David deals with stereotypes involving Parkour!
I hate that. I hate it so much. Office, like, they tried to have fun with it, and like everybody's like, oh, you do parkour, show me a flip or something like that. We don't do flips. We don't like make fools of ourselves. Those people who like jump off roofs, they say they're doing parkour, but in reality they're just more daredevils who know what they're kind of doing. According to the Facebook page, like 76 members. Some have graduated, some have left Tech. A few aren't even like old enough to get going to college, but for me personally, that doesn't matter if you're going here or not. It's just that you want to learn or you want to be safe about doing parkour.
For more information and to get in touch with other parkour members at Texas Tech and throughout Lubbock, you can check out the Lubbock Parkour Texas Parkour Facebook page for more details.